Hello YouTube, Fresh Mika here again with my second installment in my Squidward torture series, the episode known as Boating Buddies. This here is another example of SpongeBob's creepy stalker notions. Now, this episode here is one I will admit I've seen a few times, but it creeped me out so much that I really kind of have been afraid to see it again. Now, with further ado, here is Boating Buddies. Now, the episode starts off with SpongeBob simply brushing Gary until he hears an interesting noise. SpongeBob then runs to Squidward. Squidward is surprised, trying to figure out why in the world SpongeBob basically ran to check out something. SpongeBob instructs Squidward that he heard a strange noise. Then Squidward goes, "I haven't really been making any noise all day. I've been sitting here in silence." Then possibly try to figure out what the noise was. Much to not just Squidward but the audience's dismay, it was him breathing. That's right, SpongeBob can hear Squidward breathing from all the way inside his house, with the windows closed as well as the doors. Stalker creepy notion right there. Now, Squidward then offers SpongeBob $5 to leave him be for the day. Turns SpongeBob shows him the dollars that Squidward already gave him, and thus Squidward basically is at a dead end here. Realizing that he's never going to get rid of the creepy sponge, Squidward begins to slowly walk away. Realizing that SpongeBob is following him in SpongeBob's creepy stalker ways, Squidward begins to run to his boatmobile. I didn't know he had a boatmobile, so that's interesting, writers. As he's trying to get it open, he realizes, hey, he can get his boatmobile unlocked. Still freaking out as SpongeBob is slowly and creepily coming behind him, Squidward continues trying to get it open until he realizes SpongeBob is there, and SpongeBob is just basically giving him his keys. I guess no harm, no foul. But Squidward, still freaked out by SpongeBob's creepiness, decides to drive off, and he, driving at his high speed, crashes into a stop sign. There, looking the entire time, was a police officer, and I do believe this is everyone's favorite orange fish police officer, who soon gives him a driving ticket. Basically says you have to go to boating school. And what boating school is the only one we seem to see in Bikini Bottom? Mrs. Puff's. So that's right, folks. Squidward and SpongeBob will be in the same class. Much to Squidward's dismay, though, he actually doesn't think SpongeBob is going to be there, because that's not what's on his mind. What's on Squidward's mind is just going through with the class and getting out. It then goes to Squidward actually going and seeing that SpongeBob is yet there anyway. And of course Squidward gets upset. Not only that, Mrs. Puff makes Squidward sit beside SpongeBob, who is staring at him very creepily. Another memed rape face. As SpongeBob is staring at Squidward creepily, Mrs. Puff wants all of the new students, basically this is Squidward, to explain why they're there. Of course, Squidward goes up there and basically, of course, tells Mrs. Puff his problem with SpongeBob, and Mrs. Puff goes, "You are having problems with him too?" So basically she has an ally in the SpongeBob situation. As Squidward draws out his actual notions, of course, you know, like most teachers do, they want to hear both sides of the story. So SpongeBob gets up there and draws his side of the story. Only to put creepily that him and Squidward are best boating buddies forever, and of course the class chuckles and laughs. As the lunch bell rings, Squidward decides to avoid SpongeBob and of course tries to sit away. And of course, in this classic Squidward torture phenomenon, Squidward actually gets beat up by fellow students. And that's kind of messed up. He gets beat up in the bathroom where he's trying to eat, trying to escape SpongeBob. Then it gets to one of the worst things possible. Mrs. Puff has Squidward actually sit in the seat with SpongeBob while he's driving. And we all know SpongeBob cannot drive for crap. So SpongeBob does his usual screws up and to the point where they end up in some scientist lab. They get shrunk and they end up getting, and Squidward ends up going, I guess, flushed down the toilet, where he arises only to see the same evil people who beat him up the first time, and he gets beat up again. Squidward completely beat up. Now, mind you, he has told SpongeBob that he doesn't. SpongeBob, wanted to offer him help, but of course, Squidward doesn't want anything to do with SpongeBob, so he refuses him. And now it gets to the point where Squidward's in a full body cast, and the only person that can help him, sadly but surely, is SpongeBob. And when Squidward asks SpongeBob, the only few times he actually listens to Squidward, goes, "You told me not to help you. You told me, not to help you at all." And then Squidward, of course, realizes that I guess maybe I shouldn't have said it. So what happens? Squidward fails the exam, and now he has to come back the following week and do it all over again, right beside SpongeBob, because SpongeBob still failed his driving test, so he has to do it all over again. Boating Buddies is an example of one of the creepiest Squidward torture moments. Mainly how the way SpongeBob constantly stares at Squidward and kind of proves he is in fact obsessed with him. Because how is it you can hear someone breathing from all the way inside of your house? And not only that, why is it when you see that person you want to stare at them all creepily and all stalkerish? This again, to me, Boating Buddies is an example of taking the stalker notion to the end. Because mind you, Squidward would have never ended up in this situation if he wasn't trying to escape SpongeBob's creepiness in the first place. Very weird episode this one is. Very creepy this episode is. I don't know if I can watch this episode without being creeped out ever again. Alrighty everyone, this is my second installment of the Squidward torture series. This was my review/rant on the creeper episode known as Boating Buddies. For the upcoming installments for 3, I'm going to decide, now this will determine either 3 or 4. I'm going to decide whether or not I'm going to either do Slide Whistle Stooges next, or if I'll do Love That Squid. Either or will end up 3 and 4 consecutively. Alrighty everyone, Fresh Meek out.